Good afternoon. This is Sherman Crancer, Partner Channel Development Manager. We're going to wait 2 minutes and get this started. Thank you. All right, good afternoon. This is Sherman Crancer from Microsoft, Partner Channel Development Manager. I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be talking about partner profitability using virtual desktop infrastructure. Now, this is part of the partner profitability series that I've included into the MCC Microsoft Community Connections structure here. And really the goal of this is to help you really understand the different products that are inside of the Microsoft stack and really how to sell them. How do you get them out there? How do you kind of raise your antenna where you can see, when you're in a customer meeting or something like that, that you can say, oh gosh, okay, I'm hearing what they're asking for, and now I can actually provide a bit of a solution. So today, our agenda is pretty cool. So we're going to switch it up a little bit. We kind of, in the last few calls, we went straight into partner profitability and the specific topic, but we've had a lot of interest in talking about, the sales tactics that are behind a lot of this. So we're going to start right in on sales tactics first, then go into VDI, and then talk about how it all works together, and then possibly help with scheduling events. So we'll cover Microsoft Community Connections. We just want to do a brief overview with that. Registering an event to get free software for your giveaway. Then we're going to run into how to run a webinar really effectively. And I'll get into that because there's some scenarios here, some of the partners are really interested about that. And I'm going to show you how to go from a 60% retention rate all the way up to a 99% retention rate for your full webinar. It's unheard of, but there's a couple tactics that I'm going to help you understand to be able to run those really effectively. Then we're going to get into the VDI, virtual desktop infrastructure, and how can you generate revenue from it, and then lastly help with scheduling events. So let's before we get into the software piece, let's just get into Microsoft Community Connections and why I think it's probably the most powerful and most compelling program here at Microsoft. And I just want to kind of briefly set the table here per se, and talk about how I looked at Microsoft Community Connections, and it might be a different perspective than how maybe the general general Microsoft partner looks at it. Coming from a very high level of sales background, right, where I just worked on sales my whole life, not really in the technical aspect. I've been trained in so many different types of selling programs that I saw Microsoft Community Connections as an incredible initiative. And the reason why is because you could use branding. And the way I looked at it was that Microsoft wants to reach out to the community, right, to provide educational benefits, but but they want us to do it through the partners. Okay, now that's what's really interesting about the whole thing, is it's not just Microsoft doing that by itself and not including partners. Actually, Microsoft wants you to basically use their brand to provide these, thought leadership type of educational, speeches or seminars or webinars. So if you look at the program, what's really brilliant about this is that there's really no other company out there that is going to allow you to utilize, their brand to help you get into, business organizations. Now let's take a step back and look at business organizations by themselves. Okay, so what is a business organization? And that really is a chamber of commerce, an association, a business council, and these are organizations that typically have a cause. right? And you could talk about like the California Association of Realtors or the California Society of CPA. Looking at chambers of commerce, right? It could be just your regular Irvine Chamber of Commerce or Santa Ana Chamber of Commerce. And what is their purpose? And their purpose is to, for the associations, is to gather people within that industry into one place to help them and advocate for their industry, help them connect with other people, and basically a lot of business type of motions, helping them within their industry or in the chamber perspective within their community. And why do people go to these things? You have to understand that is people attend association events because they're successful. All right, in their business. The association is a little bit bigger than chambers. They're successful. They care about their business and they want to be there. They want to connect with other like-minded individuals and help each other with understanding and how to be more successful, right? Okay, so now why is that good for us? Why is it good for partners in general? And I'll tell you why. It's because you have to think about when you're marketing yourself and trying to increase your sales and revenue techniques, you have to look at sales as a very strategic way of your approach. Okay, going the shotgun method where you're just cold calling any business out there, you're doing word of mouth and whatnot. It's very low success rate, a lot of rejection, and it's not strategic and it's not a scalable type of scenario. So the reason why you want to be in associations is because you have a fish in the barrel type of situation where if let's say you're targeting manufacturers, right, and you went to the Manufacturing Association of the United States, well, you would have a targeted group of members, right, that are in manufacturing. So now instead of one out of 50 organizations that you're trying to search for is actually a manufacturer, now you have an association that is just manufacturers. Now you can create your IP that we talk about, based on these associations and their members, and then you can market to them. And that's why this thing is so powerful, is you have to think about how are you going to do your strategy within marketing and sales. How are you going to set up your business to be successful, right? And if you know what your margins are, that you're really good at, let's say the medical industry or dental industry or water industry. I mean, there's association for anything, right? But if you're really good at a vertical, this is the way to go. And what better way to get into an association than by using someone else's branding to get you in? I'll take a step back here and I'll give you an example. When I was my own company, I was basically calling on a lot of the chambers, and I'd call them up and say, hi, blah, blah, blah. And I want to talk to you about putting on some webinars and seminars. And they would, hang up on me. They would just look at me like, are you nuts? Like, who are you? Or they would say, hey, Sherman, great. We want you to come in. However, you have to join. You have to join our membership, right? And I would be like, well, I don't want to join. I just want to help you provide membership, right? Benefits. And they would say, no, thank you. However, when I changed the pitch and I realized I could use Microsoft for the Microsoft Community Connections Initiative, I then changed it to, hey, my name is Sherman and I'm calling regarding a Microsoft initiative called the Microsoft Community Connections program, where they want to provide X, Y, and Z. And instantaneously, when they heard the term Microsoft, they allowed Sherman from the XYZ partnership to come in and actually do what I wanted to do. And what did I want to do? Well, I wanted to market to their members, but I didn't want to market to their members for free. I mean, for a cost. I wanted to market to their members for free, right? So you got to think about this. Okay, now. Put in a situation where you can either join a chamber and hopefully try to get 1 or 2 seminars, or actually be part of the Community Connections program, get into the chamber without having to pay for a membership fee, and then set up 12 separate different seminars or webinars. Now you're talking. Now you're in a position where you're talking in front of every member or a subset of the members, right? And you're talking to them, but you're now in front of them all the time, and you're in front of a very strategic group of people that you can actually market to and do business with. That's the power of really associations and seminars and webinars and this whole Microsoft Community Connections initiative. Is there is no other program out there, and I can tell you this from a sales perspective. There is no other program out there. Google doesn't provide it. Really, there's no other company that'll allow you to say, hi, I'm calling on, IBMS or any type of other company, and we want to come in and provide this. So that's really the power of it, and I really think that understanding this great opportunity, this unbelievable opportunity to supercharge your business is really good. And you guys being part of this call today, I just want to kind of do a refresher. A lot of you have been here a long time, but for the new ones that are joining, hey, this is a huge opportunity. Now it takes hard work and it takes some time out of your schedule, and it's going to take time, from a sales perspective. You're going to need to allocate 1 or 2 hours a day to getting this machine going, right? And what I advocate within Project Leadgen, which is the engine behind understanding how to do this, is you should be thinking of how many associations you want to be involved in. You want to be involved in 2 associations. So let's say you're doing 2 events per month. That's fine. 1 association, that's fine. I would advocate for you to be involved in 7 or 8 different associations and make that your sole, not your soul, but your focus. Okay, your focus on how to get more leads and get more events. So that's what we're going to help. We're going to help you with. I'm sorry, I was just looking at an update that just came in here. All right, so that's what MCC is. Now, Project Leadgen, what that is it's a training program. I think a lot of you know about it. Please, if you haven't downloaded your Project Leadgen materials, please, at the end of the slide, we'll give you that link to do it. All right, so let's getting software for your events. Let's get into this. Okay, so we've had a little bit of a drop with registrations on events, and I want to just kind of clear up a few things with registering events. So, we're measured, myself, my other PCDMs, we're measured by how many events that you register and do as a partner. And we'd really appreciate that, all of your events that you're going to, that you're attending, that you're presenting on MCC, that you register them ahead of time. And it's pretty simple. No other program, once again, out there for the ability to get free software to send out. And that's what's really amazing is I, take a step back, right? And we talked about Microsoft Community Connections, right? And what that is. But not only will Microsoft allow you to use a branding, but we'll give you free software to actually donate as a raffle prize to give out. So what's really important is that you actually go to the portal, which is www.mscommunityconnections.com, www.mscommunityconnections.com, and it'll be really simple. There's a big box that says register for an event. Okay, very simple. What you need to do is just 2 weeks prior, okay, so make sure you do it 2 weeks prior so we can get it to you. You go to mscommunityconnections.com, and you put in, you register as a partner, right? And when you click you can do it 2 ways, as a partner or as an organization. Okay, so we actively sign up, right? However, what we do like is that you log in and then you put in, you can do partner. So you have organization, then you have partner. When you get into the partner piece of it, the first thing that's going to come up is please insert your PI registration, and people really, a lot of partners don't know what that is, and that's really for a way for us to track your marketing efforts, to figure out how many events you're doing, how well are you doing, and that's the one thing that we ask from you, to get the software after you put in your number. Now, if you don't have a number, that's okay, because it'll prompt you. If you have an MPN, no problem, you're getting in. But if you don't have a PI number, it'll prompt you and say, create your own PI number. Great, perfect. You click on that and you fill out the form. In about 24 to 48 hours, you'll actually get the actual thing. Okay, 1 second here while Eugene is just let's see. Okay, so she doesn't see the chat window. We had it activated for this. I'm sorry if it's not coming up for you. But If you have any questions, you can just email me or Leadgen directly right now during the show, and that's at scrancer@microsoft.com. All right, so let's get back to, so you complete the Pi login. So now let's say you got your number, or if you already had it, you're going to input it there, and then you're basically just going to go in there and put in the date, the time, the organization, make sure it's a 501c6. Now, if it isn't a 501c6, or it's like a user group, or it's something else, it's just a little bit off, that's okay. What we want you to do is send us a quick email to us saying, hey, this is the situation, and then we can see if we can maybe match that to another business organization, or possibly IAMCP if you're a member or whatnot, to help you, build this. But the main thing is to get in and do as many presentations as you possibly can, right? That is really what's going to help you get more leads and sell them. So after you do that, you're going to press submit. You're going to get what's called an event kit. And what an event kit is, and make sure you check your spam folder or your trash folder, because sometimes it kind of goes in there. And what the event kit is going to have is it's going to have the software, right? And then after the software, it's going to have different types of possibly use, right? Or within your marketing platform. So that's really good. Now, if you what we suggest is that you award the winner of the drawing. So, and I'm going to get into that when we talk about the webinar platform piece of it. But yeah, we're going to, you want to award a winner of a drawing of people who came to your event, right? You just don't want to give it out, but do that. But, getting software for your events, if you're going to a big networking event, you're going to, like Orange County's biggest mixer, you're getting a table. Register the event so that you can put out your software. If you go to a networking event, ask the president or CEO, whoever, the membership director who's doing that, if you could get 5 minutes, to be able to, raffle off the software. And as a partner, now you're getting more ingrained and ingratiated with that business community. Because what we're trying to do is help you, raise your level raise your level of what would you say? Gosh, I lost the word here. Raise your level of awareness. There you go, within your membership community. And so please do that. Now, if you have any questions, you can always go to MCC Help at Microsoft.com. Very simple. So if you're having trouble registering, we've had a couple issues with the site being down with registering, but they should be fixed by now. But if you have any questions or you have any thoughts, you start with MCC Help at Microsoft.com, or you reach out to your tele-BDM, which is located in Bellevue. Now, some of you are in the East Coast and the West Coast, and you probably don't know who your tele-BDM is. No problem. Just go ahead and send it over to MCC Help. Now, if you know your tele-BDM, then go ahead and send out an email to them, and they'll help you with the registration. Or if the third thing, you can't get any answers, please send me an email. I'll be happy to help you out. All right. So let's go into how to run a webinar effectively. Now, a lot of partners are sometimes apprehensive. They don't know what to do, how to do it. I've run about 300 webinars myself, understand the intricacies of them. The thing to do with webinars, and I'll tell you right now, is to do them live. We're live today, and it seems to lend a little bit more of a heightened awareness. And to be frank with you, I think people like to see you being human. Like, I've already made 3 or 4 mistakes today already, but it's being human. We're not always going to be perfect. We're not always going to be able to say everything exactly, not forget those things, right? So, having it live. Now, I tell you, one of these situations. In running a webinar that's very difficult is called the retention rate. And this is kind of an actual metric that's really important to understand is if you look at the analytics between webinars, you're going to find that a lot of webinars, about 15% great content and about 45% of sales, right? Sales related material. And you want to run your seminars and webinars on a real educational platform, helping people understand, because you're trying to raise the awareness and have them think of you as a thought leader, right? So you want to be really careful, and that's how I did it, but you could do a little bit differently, but really careful on the salesy approach. How I started off the webinar, it was very similar to how I do it here, where, hi, my name is Sherman Crancer from XYZ. Thank you very much. What I specialize in is, Office 365, SharePoint managed services, right? And then I would stop. I would say, well, thanks for attending. Now let's get into the content. And the way I ran the webinar was then I would do 45 minutes of content. Okay, and that was all education based. Now we provide you with every single webinar you could possibly need or use, because we actually have all the assets for you. So all you have to do is really speak on it, right? But it's 45 minutes, and then at the end I would say, hey, thank you very much. My name is Sherman Crancer. Once again, this is what I specialize in. And I'm here to help you with all of your needs. We can just do a free assessment. But I use the webinar platform as a way to soft sell my way into getting people to sign up to be part of my newsletter or my marketing program, right? So kind of a step-by-step thing is first you want to decide on a platform that you want to use. Okay, so there's many platforms out there. Typically I use Skype for Business, and now I'm using actually Skype Broadcast. Each has their challenges, with that. But if you're using the technology that we're promoting, what better way to be able to, provide, a reason why you're a thought leader. Okay. Now, if you're going to use Skype for Business or Skype Broadcast, you're going to need to get actually an E5 license so that you can get an actual call-in number, because you're going to find that a lot of people cannot attend these types of webinars if they don't have a call-in number. For some reason, maybe their internet connection's not working, whatever, they want to just call in, or they're driving. So you're going to need a call-in number. So that's the one expense you're going to have, for that. But if you really think about it, what is the expense? So if you get the E5 edition with the whole SKU and everything, it's about $32 a month. And then, with Skype for Business, you can do 250 people on it. Skype Broadcast, which we're on today, provides a great, a quality video right after the end of the broadcast. However, there's some limitations because it's in beta. It's still coming together. So you got to fix. So you can do Skype for Business, and I put in here other paid webinar platforms. There's a lot of webinar platforms that are not paid for. That are cheap, but they look cheap, and you'll look cheap, and they don't have some of the functionality that's really important. And one of the main things is to be able to upload your content to the webinar platform so people can download it, right? That would be a pretty neat scenario. But the other thing is understanding stuff that, or being able to put in content that people can click through. So they, click through to join, get a survey or whatnot. And how I ran the webinar was I started out, with my introductions, then I would do content, but in the very middle of every presentation, I'd say, all right, halftime, break time. Right. And with that, I would have my OneDrive Excel survey up. And the reason why I did that, because you had to give the opportunity for people to fill it out. And what was on my OneDrive Excel survey? Well, if you have followed the Project Leadgen tutorials 1 through 5, you will know that one of the modules is online Excel survey, and that's how you capture attendees' information. Right. So you would create one in an Excel, and it says, first name, last name, email address. Did you like the presentation? Is it helpful? Is it, part of your business? Would you like to be contacted? Would you like an Office 365 trial? Okay. So in halftime, I'd raise my hand and say, okay, let's go. We're going to fill out this survey. And the attendees would then fill it all out, because what I was hoping to do is get them to enter in all their information. So at the end of the seminar, not only did I have a list to go ahead and pick a winner from, right, but B, I was able to upload that data straight into my CRM, straight into my, Click Dimensions email drip campaign, and then I'd send them all a Office 365 trial, because you just want to establish a beachhead, right? And you can get probably 40% of my attendees opted into that trial, okay? And then 40% of that would actually convert what it was. So if you look at that, so that's the Excel survey part, but one of the most important things to be able to run a webinar for your clients effectively, okay, is keeping their attention. So what happens, the metrics are at 45 minutes, like 60% of all webinar attendees fall. They leave, they're gone, right? However, in this scenario, what I suggest that you do is actually have 3 polls ready to go. Now, for the paid type of webinar platforms out there, you can use those and they'll allow you to put polls in there. And what a poll is basically, you go your first 15 minutes, you say, okay, time out, we're going to do a quick poll to see what people think. And in that poll, your question that you already have pre-done is, so tell me a little, what do you think of the cloud? Or is the cloud effective for your business? A, yes, no. B, no, C, I'm still feeling a little cloudy, kind of do that. But the main thing is to keep your audience interactive, right? Kind of keeping them all together. Now, I apologize for the Q&A session because we're trying to keep this interactive. However, it's just going to get better and better, but when you use the paid webinar platform, you'll be able to do polls. People are going to like that because they can actually vote and see what other people are actually doing. Okay, that's pretty cool, right? And then you keep their engagement. There's not going to be a situation where they just put on, the webinar, right? And then from the webinar, they just, start clicking around everywhere else. Is it interesting? So putting and I would do them every 15 minutes. When you're doing these for your associations, do them every 15 minutes, get good at it, practice how you, come in and out of them, and I think you're going to be fine. The next scenario is really, having 2 partners, on the program. That's really important too. Having yourself as a presenter, and then having somebody in the background that can help you with the Q&A portion of the event. That's really important too. Okay, now this is the next function that I really hope we can pay some attention to, because this is where you get free advertising. Okay, 24/7, 365. This is another tactic that can have its own slide by itself, to be honest with you. But I'm just so excited about this because you have to just embrace it. You have to embrace change and embrace, technology, right? And embrace how it's going to help you sell more. And that's what's important here, is how are we helping our partners sell more? Okay, Office Mix. It's an add-on to PowerPoint. And if you haven't used it yet or haven't downloaded it, just go to www.officemix.com. Okay, pow! officemix.com, and you go there and you download it. And what happens is it's an add-in to your Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay, why is this important? Why? Okay, so after you've downloaded it and you upload your PowerPoint that, let's say, you had it for your presentation, very similar to the one here today, right? You upload it and you click on the Office Mix tab, and then you're going to go to the far left-hand corner and you're going to click Record. Now, why is that important? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's going to open up a new window and it's going to show your video and your audio. And what you're going to do is you're actually going to re-record that webinar. Okay, you're going to actually re-record what is a cloud and whatnot, but you're going to do it on video, and you're going to do it, with a good microphone, okay, and good lighting. That's what's important. Now, you run through the webinar. Okay, it's going to take 45 to 50 minutes. You might want to cut those pre-recorded ones down to 35 to 40 minutes at tops. Okay, and you're going to record it. Now, after you're done recording it, okay, you're going to exit out of that recording session, and it's going to automatically put your picture, your recording, on the PowerPoint. It's going to embed it into the PowerPoint. And now you can actually take that picture, right? And you can resize it, unsize it, do it all different ways, right? And actually put it inside your presentation. When you play the presentation, after it's been saved and whatnot, it's going to be a seamless transition of your video through the different slides. It's unbelievable, right? Okay, so now that was just the technology and why that is. But what makes this so much more compelling and why this is so impactful for your business is after you're done recording, you've saved it, there's a button on Office Mix that says Upload to Office Mix. Great, okay, so you're going to upload it. You're going to sign into your account. You're going to say, make it available, and then create a video. So what it is, it's going to take a while. It's going to create a video of your PowerPoint presentation, but it's going to upload it to the cloud, officemix.com. From there, after it's done, it'll say, show me my mix. And you click on that, and your mix comes up, and it says, has your details, the title of the page. You type in as a description of it, right? And then you save it. And then you have a link an internet link, okay, that you have to give out to anybody for anybody to access that link at any time to watch your video. Okay, step back a second, think about that. You want 24/7, 365 free advertising? I'm showing you how to do it. Okay, it's going to take some work, but if you do it right, now you're in good shape. Okay, so now what I want you to do is then open up an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, and you're going to type in, just very similar to our editorial calendar. Okay, date, title, name of your webinar, right? And you put that in, and you're going to put the link in there. But also, then you're going to go back to your the mix page, and you're going to look in the bottom left-hand corner, and there's going to be a little section that says Embed. This is where it's important. You go down, you copy the Embed link, you put it in your spreadsheet. Okay, now you do that for all 12 webinars. You need to have 12 in your pocket. And the reason why I say this is because after you have an influencer who says, hey, yes, I want this content, I want this education. However, a lot of my members may not be able to come to your webinar. What can you do for us after that? You can say, I already have that taken care of. You can say to the association, hey, do you have an education page? And they say, yes, great. Well, here are 12 embed links that you can just go ahead and embed them into your page, your educational page. And it's Microsoft providing educational benefits to your members, where your members can now just click it within your page and actually watch it behind your gated content. Okay. Now, if they don't have an education page, you say, no problem, let's just create one so I can put all 12 there, okay? Now, the beauty of this is, let's say there's 600 members, but you're only getting 15 or 20 people coming to your webinar. That's okay. If you only get 2, that's fine. As long as you're allowed to do the second piece of it is say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Association, do you mind if we put these up there so people can watch them on demand? And they tell you yes. There's a different metric. Last year in FY15, just in year 15, there was a 60% live, 40% on demand. But now it's completely flipped for FY16, where 60% of the viewers typically want to watch it whenever they want to watch it. Okay, and then 40% are attending the live events. What's also important is within, I told you to make a video inside Office Mix. You want them to be able to download it, right? Download the presentation to their own device and share it, as well as be able to watch it from any type of different device. So that's really what Office Mix really is, and it's so powerful because now your content is sitting on their education page 24 hours a day, 365 days a week, 365 days a year, right? 52 weeks. It's just unbelievable. Not everyone can watch you on demand. Now, what is the cost of that going to be? Well, it's going to be zero because the way that we position Microsoft Community Connections within the association community. And that's really how Microsoft wants to provide them benefits. Microsoft wants to provide the association a $15,000 educational sponsorship. We want to provide them with a series of webinars, which you're putting on. We give you the content, you put it on. We want to give them tech tips, which we produced, give them to you, you repurpose and send it back. And then we also want to give them software to give to their members. We're helping them, okay, provide member benefits. You have to remember that. That's the way you take the approach with any association or business organization. It's not them helping you. You turn that around. It is you helping them. So if you take that all together, how to run a webinar effectively, it really is about your educational content, using the right platform, having a survey link to capture information, having 3 polls in your presentation, having 2 partners on the program, make sure they're live. People like to see you live, make mistakes on there. People like to see humanity, right? And then, record them on an Office Mix. Now, that in itself is going to supercharge your business. That in itself is going to help you, do really well. Because there's one other thing too. There are those associations out there that we're contacting on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, that aren't interested in actual live webinars. Or they say, well, I only want you to come in once or twice a year. And they're steadfast about not providing their members benefits, right? They're steadfast about it. However, you can say, no problem, I understand that. Here, I already have 12 webinars for you. Why don't you go ahead and put this on your page? Boom, it's done, it's over. Now you're getting all their information, right? Unbelievable. So that's just the thought behind it. And then on those office mixes, always make sure you have a link to your OneDrive Excel survey to capture their information because you want them to call you as well as have a great call to action. So hope you're excited about that because I am. Oh, quick story. We were doing the SBA webinars. And I was doing them on a Surface Pro with really low quality. They're thankfully happy to work with us. And we actually started doing the polling, and we started doing the live and interactive and Q&A and that type of stuff. And man, I tell you, it went from around 65%, that's exactly the way it was, to a 99% retention rate through the whole hour. So and don't be discouraged. If you can't get a lot of associations to sign up for in-person or live events, record these, get them ready. If you don't have these, you're really missing out on the opportunity. All right. So let's get into a VDI, and this is part of the Partner Profitability series. And this is really kind of just an FYI, a real high-level overview, because I'm not an expert at it. But I think it's good to understand that there are different technologies out there that might be able to provide, you as a partner, an avenue to increase your revenue. Now, the way I looked at a lot of things, within partners, and I think you should as well, is you don't have to be an expert at everything, right? However, you need to have connections, and that's why Microsoft Community Connections is so great. You make these partnerships, these great partnerships, right? But if you have connections with people who are in the industry, and you know a little bit about what VDI is, hey, you can keep your antenna up, and if an opportunity arises, well, now you can quarterback the opportunity, right? You could be the general contractor per se. Reduce headcount. I mean, you don't have to put a lot of new resources into things if you understand, what these things are. So, VDI, what is VDI? And you kind of look at, it's virtual desktop infrastructure. So it's really, the ability to have a virtual desktop on demand for clients, and this is typically for much larger companies, right? And you think about a desktop. If you have a desktop, you're going to have to install all different types of software on there. They're going to be on premise. They're sitting there. There's a myriad of different technological IT problems and needs, keeping things up to date, on an actual desktop environment. So what virtual desktop is literally what the virtual means is having a virtual desktop environment. And from the industry's perspective, they're either session-based pooled virtual machines or personal virtual machines. So it's kind of all over the place, right? Different providers think different things are better to utilize, right? But it's really the understanding that you can have a controlled environment managed, managing all these virtual desktops, through one portal very simply, right? But then providing a virtual desktop environment, that's highly secure to one of your employees that is, moving about the country or moving about the world or traveling or whatnot. So different types of networks are going to have different components. Some are going to be very light, and you can use an Office 365 environment, with just one computer, right? But that's installed. However, if you have different companies have different applications, right? They have different things running on their server that they don't want to have access on mobile devices. And so then they said, well, hey, I think the most cost-effective way is to create virtual, desktop infrastructure, virtual machines, that people can actually get into and run like it was their own environment. So, VDI doesn't always fit, the sales and services model, because you have the data center assets, you have the client device assets, you have this whole thing about VMware, why it's so great, but you really need to be able to adjust for success within your own company, and that's what it really means. Is if you have a company who is starting out small or maybe a mid-range, but all of a sudden has an infusion of cash and is going to start exploding, or bought by a VC, and I mean there's a couple of models here locally that allow for this growth, right, or the scaling up and down. Well, how do you do that when you have data center assets and your client device assets and you're just using, VMware? Well, using our model here at Microsoft, VDI allows you for the ability to scale up and down very simply and very easily without a lot of the workload costs that are associated with other virtual machines. So, choosing the right VDI architecture is actually kind of difficult, and understanding, what really applies to what is what we're going to cover here. And so if you look at sessions, you have pooled virtual machines and you have personal virtual machines. So if you want a personalization, they look at, okay, sessions is, the 2 stars, pooled 2 stars, but personal VMs are really great if you have a, what's a one-to-one relationship. They have their own environment specifically for them. Now, if you want to have app compatibility so that you can basically use whatever apps that you're doing, you're going to look at personal virtual machines. Once again, that's your highest rated, or, pooled VMs, because, it actually works all together. You can control the app that's actually being installed in those. And, server sessions are okay. But now where the ease of management is really the interesting piece here, and where you come in as an IT provider really comes around, okay, well, how can I manage, can I really manage a one-to-one environment with 300 different users? No, you can't. I mean, you could, but it's going to take a lot. Pooled VMs are okay, but within sessions, now that's a different story. You have a really, that's probably the best way of going about, the ease of management. And then, the cost effectiveness piece of it, because you're pooling the resources and allowing for sessions to happen when they do, you have, the best, it's really the 3-star environment there. Your personal VMs, while they have a lot of personalization and app compatibility, they really, as far as cost goes, the management deployment is extremely, extremely difficult. So, this is the next animation is, it says how many fish, do you want in each tank? And, or how many, and then, or, what is it? How many fish tanks, do you want to clean, right? And what's fairly interesting about this is that virtual desktop adopters have complained that the storage costs can be as high as 40% to 60% of the entire SHVD budget. And that's, we got to be really careful about that, and figuring out, how many do you really want to manage, and that's really that whole personal VM scenario as opposed to a pooled session. So I think if you look at it from that different perspective and look at the one platform that can handle everything with Microsoft VDI, then you're in a better situation. So utilizing this is just understand when you're in a client and you're talking to a client, if they are, running VMware, this is great because you can ask them just a couple quick questions. Well, how many virtual machines do you have? Tell me about your, VDI. Do you have that implemented? What type of cost structure is around your VDI? Do you have a pooled session? Do you have a one-on-one environment? What are the problems? What are the issues that you want to solve? Are they managed correctly? Or do you have security? You can get a lot of information about just a VDI environment, even though you don't know much about it, or you don't feel like, I'm going to go ahead and present this proposal. But you take down as much information about it as you can, and then once again, I told you, quarterback it. Find your partner that's in MCC and utilize those resources that are like specialists in VDI, and contact them and do a deal together. That's the beauty of what MCC really is. All right, so Microsoft Desktop Virtualization basically takes the user state, applications, and the operating system and puts them all together. So what's neat about this is that the user experience can be changed really relatively quickly, and you can have folder redirection. Within your applications, you can basically have your applications anywhere, anytime, and be able to utilize remote app into those. And then on the operating system, it's Windows everywhere. That's what people are actually asking for, is being able to have the Windows environment everywhere, but the Windows environment within a secure connection inside the network infrastructure, as opposed to having just a single use type of scenario. So System Center 20012, basically, you can deliver your virtualization to the user using one platform and not having to go back to several others. Are you going to get into VDI? I don't know. Maybe you are, maybe you're not, but it's good just to kind of know this stuff. So, these are really the user access scenarios. And this is actually really good to kind of think, okay, wait a minute, which ones would be good, right? Which ones would be good for me? And, it kind of looks down at it, but if you're always connected, right? And you're bringing your own device, which a lot of small to medium-sized businesses are doing, right? Your BYOD, or you need repairs and business compliance. The VDI environment would be a really good avenue. You can use Windows to Go for 6 out of the 8 different scenarios. But you have this, and what I would suggest is that you download this and you actually just keep it in your file in the event that you do have a discussion that comes up around VDI. Sometimes it's tough to make things really exciting just available, right? So here's where the partner opportunity for virtual desktop infrastructure, and it's really capitalizing on the market opportunity, because we see a $4.7 billion increase, and that was in 2000. We probably see double that. And that's what's really interesting. So I think when you're looking at VDI, you're looking at companies that are high growth, right? Companies that have a big mobile device management type of scenario with a lot of different mobile users. And suggest is that you actually take your your vertical marketing scenario or your vertical asset and actually implement it, a VDI scenario into a package. So we talked about, project services, what you can do with this. With VDI, project is going to allow you to just kind of go in there and help them understand it, help them put it together. It could be for a big IT company where you're helping them, right? And use a project-based revenue, but that's smaller, right? That's it's not going to be the long-term piece of it. You can add managed services into the project or hourly deal, but really it's the package IP piece of it that I really want to just kind of reinforce with you. Is if you can figure out a way to package virtual VDI within maybe an Office 365 environment that provides that you have Azure, right? You're providing Azure to a company, Access or AD Directory, mobile device, EMS, and have something that's in there that could be an option, and that could be like your option 3. For your packaged IP. Everything's about packages. Package things together that are going to bring you big margin. VDI is something that by itself, individually, there's not a lot of margin on that by say, but configuring it and putting it all together in a package, you can provide it for a monthly cost. Now, the main thing with all of these calls here, and we go through each one of these different technology scenarios, is how do you make money at them, right? How are you going to increase your revenue? And the way to do that is really through the packages. So, this over and over again. Every week we're going to talk about, okay, how do you place this in a package? Well, this placed in a package is probably going to be on option 3, probably. If you're heavily into network infrastructure, it might be in your package 1. However, if you're not heavily into package or network infrastructure and you're more in the cloud and selling other things, well, maybe this one can be in package number 3, and this is like the super involved package, or the super package, package number 3 could be that one. Anyways, so that's pretty much it. All right, so we're wrapping this thing up here. If you need help, contact us. Send me an email, scrancer@microsoft.com, or your tele BDM, which is your tele business development manager, and they're located up in Washington. They're all a great group. We love working with them, and they're ready to help you at a moment's notice. Let's recap this a little bit. What Microsoft Community Connections is: it's probably the best way to get in front of a business organization and its members without having to pay, and becoming a thought leader within that. As long as you follow the steps correctly, how to register for events. We're measured on events, so we really want you to register all of your events. Any event you go to, start registering them. mscommunityconnections.com. And if you need any help, once again, let us know. To access the editorial page for the call, we had a little bit of an issue with Eventbrite, so we went back to the actual editorial page. It's very simple. It's very intuitive. It just, you go down to the date, which will be next Monday, right? And you'll look at it, and there'll be a link to get in, and there'll be a link to the ICS invite if you want to download it to your computer. And then at the end of it, we'll have the recording link. So as soon as this is over, within 5 minutes, I'm updating this recording to that link. You can go to it. Now, you can always access it. If you have a problem with any of the links, okay, which sometimes there are problems with links, just go back to the Join Me page, okay, and just join the meeting at any time. That's the beauty of Skype Broadcast. We're going to be incorporating polls into Skype Broadcast pretty soon, and that's going to be fantastic. That's really going to help us out. So, okay, next up, next week, Internet of Things. Now, this is going to be a super cool one, right? We're going to talk about collecting data and monitoring assets, and how, as a partner, you can make money using Internet of Things, or talking about Internet of Things. It's the next big thing. It's the next Internet of Things. It's huge. Some of the things that are happening with IoT in Azure are amazing, and I think you got to understand what they are. And I look forward to talking to you about that. And we're going to have some really cool sales tactics next week. We'll also talk about seminars, actually how to put together an effective seminar that's not going to take you forever to actually produce. And then we're also going to talk to you about how to monetize Office 365 trials. Okay, so that's the next step. How do we monetize? How do we make money out of this? And that's what I'm trying to hear to help you with. So you can download the call information there. Now, and once again, if you haven't downloaded PLG, Project Leadgen, you don't know about it, you want to know more about it, go ahead and click the link here, aka.ms, whack, ready to go, whack PLG. That's what you do. And then you download all the assets, go to your Office Mix, click it, watch the videos. Minutes of videos, and we're here to help you out. Really excited to do this for you. Anyways, thanks so much. Really appreciate your time today. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends, send this meeting invite to anyone that you think might be interested in this. I'm here to help. Really want to help you build your business and get into more associations. Thanks so much, and have a great day.